Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome to the Dankest Dungeon. Today we're going to be playing with some more Aetherdrift commanders. Let's go ahead and see what everyone's bringing this time around. Hey, what is up? It's Jason, and today I'm bringing Gonti, Knight Minister. That means we're playing a game of Group Slug.
Hey guys, it's David. Today I'm playing Ketramose, the New Dawn. It has a lot of words on it, but we're going to focus on the bottom line that says whenever a card is put into exile from graveyards or the battlefield during my turn, I draw a card and lose a life. Let's see how it goes.
It's Corbin. We're back. I'm playing some version of Saheeli. Don't remember the name of it. It's here or here. I don't know where the camera is.
Hey, it's Matt. I am here playing Oviya, Automech Artisan. I'm going to put some big creatures into play and like vehicles and stuff maybe. I don't know. It's mono green.
All right, let's go ahead and roll off.
Wait, are we doing this?
What?
We do that after.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's later. I got an 8.
6.
Do I win?
No.
Okay, go.
3.
Oh, I'm so sorry, man.
You're not. It's fine.
3 games in a row. It's got to feel like something.
I never get to go first.
I'm mulliganing.
I am also
I don't
mulliganing.
care about turn order.
I'm going to mulligan.
I'm keeping.
Keeping my second 7.
This is a weird one, but sure, whatever. Let's try it.
This is considerably worse than last time. I'll put this back.
I'm okay with it. 5s?
Okay, we're going to go to 5. See what we get. Yes, this is a hand I can keep. I'm going to put this one and this one on the bottom. I'm going to go to the first turn of the game, everyone, and draw a card. I'll play a Swamp, Blood Chief, Ascension. At the beginning of each end step, if an opponent lost 2 or more life this turn, I may put a quest counter on Blood Chief Ascension. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, if Blood Chief Ascension has 3 more counters on it, I may have that player lose 2 life. If I do, I gain 2 life. I'll pass my turn.
Play Marsh Flats, crack it. I'll go and get a basic Plains,
That's so lame.
and I'll play a Soul's Attendant. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. Pass turn.
I am taking my turn. I'm gonna shock myself because who's afraid of Blood Chief Ascension? Not me.
Soul Ring!
Mana Vault.
Arcane Signet!
Nope.
Oh.
I'll pass.
All right, Blood Chief Ascension will get its first counter.
Neat. I will go to my first turn of the game, or whatever you said, and draw.
Are you trying to pick it up on my mic?
I guess so. I just have a forest. Go ahead.
I'm going to untap my Swamp and draw a card. I will play a second Swamp. I will tap 2 Swamps. I will play a Jet Medallion. My black spells cost 1 less. Pass turn.
Untap, drop, play a Swamp. I will tap 2 for an Arcane Signet. I will tap Arcane Signet for a Relic of Progenitus. You can tap it, target player exiles a card from his or her graveyard. I can pay 1, exile Relic of Progenitus, exile all cards from all graveyards, and draw a card. I'll go to combat, and I'll hit Jason for 1.
Okay.
I'll pass turn.
We're going to...
If you play a Breeding Pool untapped, I'm going to be a little upset.
No. I'm going to play a Boseiju who endures. And then I'm going to tap for 5 mana. 2 colorless and a blue. I'll have a green and a colorless left. I'm going to play Repurposing Bay. Pay 2 mana and tap it to sacrifice another artifact. Search your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrifice artifact's mana value. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Activate only as a sorcery. I'm going to activate it. I'm going to sack this thing so I don't take damage. I'm going to put this Arcane Signet into play. I'll pass.
I have a forest. I'm going to pay 2 for a Scythe Cat Cub. It is a 2/2 trample. Whenever land enters under my control, I can put a 1/1 counter on a creature. If it's the second time this ability is resolved this turn, I get to double the number of counters on that creature instead.
I'm going to gain a life from Soul's Attendant.
You may do that.
I totally understand that cat having trample. If my cat was a magic card, it would have trample.
Neat. I'm going to pass the turn.
Okay, I'm going to untap and draw. I'm going to play a third Swamp. And then I will pay 3 mana for my commander, Gonti, Knight Minister. Let's read him. Whenever a player casts a spell they don't own, that player creates a treasure token. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller looks at the top card of that opponent's library and exiles it face down. They may play that card at any time, use mana as any color to cast it. Pass the turn.
We are going to tap 3 and play my commander. Ketramose, the New Dawn, can't attack or block unless 7 or more cards are in exile. Menace, Lifelink, Indestructible. Whenever one or more cards are put into exile from graveyards and or the battlefield during my turn, I draw a card and lose a life. Speaking of that, I'm going to Relic of Progenitus targeting Corbin.
Oh, I do have a graveyard. Sure. You got me.
I will lose a life and draw a card. We'll gain a life from Soul's Attendant. Land for turn will be a Hidden Grotto. Surveil 1. That can stay on top.
End of your turn. I'm going to pay 1 blue. I'm going to tune the narrative. I'm going to draw a card, and then I'm going to get 2 energy counters. Bang. Bang.
Wow.
It begins.
It's more energy than the rest of us.
Now I'm gonna untap and draw. I'm gonna shock in this breeding pool.
Somehow I knew that was coming.
I'm gonna play my commander. Saheeli, Radiant Creator, 4/4. Whenever you cast an Artificer or Artifact spell, you get an energy.
Wow.
At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 3 whole energy. If you do, create a token that's a copy of target permanent you control. In addition to its other types, it is an artifact as well as a 5/5 monster. It has haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. I'm gonna cast a Lotus Petal. Trigger!
I need to gain a life from Soul's Attendant.
Go to le combats. I'll use all my energy. We'll make a copy of this Lotus Petal because that's funny. I have a 5/5 Lotus Petal.
It enters?
Yeah,
It does
enters.
enter.
You can gain a life, and then you can take this 5 or block. I don't really care.
I will block.
Okay. I will go to my end step, and this dude sacrifices.
Yeah, I'll get a counter on Blood Chief Ascension.
I will go to my turn, untap and draw. I'm going to pay 2 mana for Bristly Bill's Spine Sower.
Oh boy.
Landfall. When a land enters under my control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, and I can pay 5 to double the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature I control. I am going to play land for turn. It's Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. I will trigger both of my creatures, and I'll put 2 +1/+1 counters on my gigantic cat. Then I'm going to tap Yavimaya to play Arbor Elf. I can tap it to untap a forest. That's turn.
I'm going to untap and draw. I will play a Force Swamp. I am going to swing on David.
I have no blocks.
Okay, that'll be 3 commander damage. And I will exile the top card of your library. I'm going to pay 1 to cast this Scrabbling Claws from exile. Trigger my commander, I will make a treasure token. This is an artifact. I can tap it. Target player exiles a card from the graveyard. I can pay 1 and sack it to exile a card from the graveyard and draw a card. I'm going to go ahead and pass turn after that. Blood Chief will go up to 3 counters.
I'll untap and draw. Land for turn is going to be this Arid Mesa, which now hurts me more. I'm going to tap Relic Progenitus, targeting Corbin. Card is exiled from a graveyard during my turn. I will lose a life and draw a card. Tap 4 to cast a Damnation.
It's interesting.
That is interesting.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to hit Corbin for 2, Matt for 6, and I will gain 8.
Damnation goes to the graveyard, so I get hit.
It does, yes.
Also going to crack my fetch. Getting a Plains, going to tap 1 and play Confessor. Whenever a player discards a card from his or her hand, I may gain 1 life. I will pass turn.
Activate Repurposing Bay, sacrificing Arcane Signet.
Trigger Blood Chief Ascension.
Yeah.
We'll deal 2 to you and gain 2.
I will play Etheric Amplifier. It is a 3-mana artifact. I can tap it to add 1 mana of any color to my mana pool, or I can pay 4 and tap it to choose 1. Double the number of each kind of counters on target permanent, or double the number of each kind of counters I have as a person. I will pass the turn.
Land for turn is Forest. I am going to cast my commander, Oviya, Automech Artisan. Each creature that's attacking one of my opponents has trample. I can pay green and tap it to put a creature or vehicle card from my hand onto the battlefield. If I put an artifact on the battlefield this way, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. I will pass the turn.
I will untap and draw. I will play a 5th swamp of the game.
Let's go.
I'm going to go ahead and pay 5 mana to get my commander out. And I will pass turn.
Untap and draw. Tap Relic Progenitus, targeting Matt. Have him exile a card from his graveyard.
Sure. Goodbye, Scythe Cat Cub.
I will lose a life and draw a card. Tap Hidden Grotto. I'll pay 1 mana. I will exile Relic Progenitus, triggering my commander to exile all cards in all graveyards, which will trigger my commander. So I will lose 2 and draw 2. Land for turn will be a swamp. Tap 2, Felwar Stone. Tap 3 for a Patchwork Gnomes. You can discard a card to regenerate Patchwork Gnomes. Move to combat now that my commander can swing. Jason, 4/4 Menace, Lifelink, Indestructible.
Yeah, I'll take 4.
I will gain 4. I will pass turn.
End of your turn. I will cast Harness Lightning. Choose target creature. You get 3 energy counters. And then you can pay any amount of energy. Harness Lightning deals that much damage to that creature. I will pay 1 energy.
Sounds good.
Trigger Blood Chief Ascension.
Yep. I will deal 2 to you and gain 2. And it will do the same to Corbin.
I will play a Ketria Trial. Pass the turn.
Land for turn is Verdant Catacombs, and I'm going to fetch with it right away and lose 3 life. I will simply find a basic forest and pass the turn.
I'm going to untap and draw. I'm going to pay 3 mana, being reduced by 1, for Rev, Tithe Extractor. This is a 3/3 human rogue. Whenever I attack, target creature gains death touch until end of turn. Whenever one or more creatures I control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Then look at that player's top card and exile it face down. I can play it and spend mana as any color to cast it. Go to combat. David, I'll swing on you. 3/4, death touch, trample.
I'd like to ephemerate my commander. I will choose to block your commander with a 4/4 lifelink.
He'll die.
I will gain 4.
Do you know how Death Touch and Trample work?
No, I don't.
If you have a Death Touch creature that has Trample, you have to assign lethal damage before you can trample over. With Death Touch, lethal damage is 1. With Indestructible, it doesn't die, but it's still considered lethal damage.
I understand. I'll still die, but I'll trigger both of these.
Yep.
Treasure from Rev. I'll look at the top card of your library, and I'll look at the top card of your library. I'm going to go ahead and pay 1 mana to cast one of Matt's favorites, Currency Converter.
I do like that card.
This is an artifact. Whenever I discard a card, I may exile that card. I can pay 2 and tap it to draw a card, then discard a card. I can tap it to put a card exiled with Currency Converter into my graveyard. If it's a land, I create a treasure. If it's a non-land, I create a 2/2 rogue. I will then use my 2 last treasures and 1 for Necropotence. Pay a life to exile cards. At the end of my turn, they go into my hand. I'm going to pay 10 life, and I'm going to exile 10 cards. Then I'm going to go to my end step and discard some cards. Discarding Changeling Outcast, Swamp, Thought Vessel, Swamp, Lethal Scheme. When I discard these...
So when you discard them, Necropotence triggers and Currency Converter trigger once the cards are in your graveyard. As the controller of both effects, you may choose which replacement effect to apply.
Instead of going to regular exile, they will exile onto Currency Converter.
Instead of vanilla exile, they'll go into spicy exile.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
Untap, upkeep, rebound on Ephemerate. I will cast it targeting Patchwork Gnomes.
Blood Chief Ascension will get you again.
And I will lose 1 and draw 1 because Patchwork Gnomes went to exile. Draw per turn. Cast Soul Ring.
Card's pretty good.
We're going to cast Ranger Captain of Eos. When Ranger Captain of Eos enters, I may search my library for a creature card with converted mana cost 1 or less. Be able to put it in your hand and shuffle. I can sacrifice it to make my opponents not be able to cast non-creature spells this turn. I'm going to get Soul Warden. Tap 1 for the Soul Warden.
Neat.
Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, I gain 1 life. I will move to combat. Jason, 4/4 Menace. Lifelink Indestructible.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I will gain 4, and I will pass turn.
Your turn. I'm going to cast Serum Snare on Blood Chief Ascension. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If that permanent has mana value 3 or less, proliferate. It does. So I'll proliferate. Alright, I'm going to untap. I'm going to draw. Play Treasure Vault for my land for turn. I will cast Crack Clan Ironworks. Sacrifice an artifact, add 2 to your mana pool. I'm gonna get rid of it, because, like, screw that card. Card's bad. I'm gonna go get a 5-drop. I'm gonna put a Gilded Lotus into the battlefield. It is a 5-mana artifact that I can tap to add 3 mana of any 1 color to my mana pool. I'll pass.
Add step. I'm going to activate my commander. I may put a creature or a vehicle card from my hand onto the battlefield. If it's an artifact, put 2 1/1 counters on it. I'm going to put Blightsteel Colossus into play. It's an artifact. It's a 13/13.
I'm going to gain a life.
I'm going to go to my turn. Land for turn is Wooded Foothills. I'm going to go to combat. Hey, Jason.
Yeah. I'm going to tap Currency Converter. I'm going to put Changeling Outcast in my graveyard. I want to make a 2/2 rogue. It's going to block with Rev.
Sure. I will assign lethal damage to each of them, and
I will take 8 Infect. I'm going to be exiling 30 next turn, hoping I get Deadly Relic.
second main. I'm going to pay 5 mana, and I'm going to cast Invasion of Ikoria. When it enters the battlefield, search your library and or graveyard for a non-human card with mana value X or less. If you search your library this way, shuffle. And I'm going to give it to Corbin to defend.
I'll defend it. with not my life. I don't care about that card.
The 3-drop I'm going to find is Fierce Empath. When Fierce Empath enters the battlefield, search your library for a creature card with mana value 6 or more, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. I'm going to do that.
I'm going to gain a life.
I'm going to go find Vigor fetch as well. Get a basic forest. Vigor is a 6/6 trample. If damage would be dealt to another creature I control, prevent it. Put a 1/1 counter on that creature for each 1 damage prevented. This way, when it's put into a graveyard from anywhere, shuffle it into its owner's library. It's a 6/6. But that's in my hand. Pass the turn.
Are you enjoying our content? Want to help support the show? Consider joining our Patreon for some dank benefits, including access to our full deck list, voting privileges for polls, shoutouts at the end of our videos, and more. Don't want to give us any money? We get it. Subscribing to the channel, liking our videos, and commenting down below also help as well, and are totally free. Thank you so much everyone for your support. Let's get back to the video. I'm gonna untap and not draw. I will play a Swamp for turn. I'll pay 1 for a Bitter Blossom. During my upkeep, I lose a life and make a 1/1 fairy. I'm going to exile 23 cards from my library. 25 cards. Go to the end of my turn. These will go to my hand. Discarding. These will all be going underneath the currency converter. It's a bunch of cool stuff.
Cool.
Do you want to hear what it is?
No.
Okay. And I will pass.
Untap and draw. I would like to go to combat for Menace at Matt. Lifelink Indestructible.
4 blocks. I'm going to activate my commander. I'm going to put in Generous Ent. It's a 5/7 reach, and when it enters, I get a food. I will double block.
Kill the Fierce Empath.
Sure.
I'll gain 4. I will just pass turn there.
I'm going to recast my commander. We're here. She's back.
I'm going to gain a life.
Use 3 energy, and I'm going to make a copy of Repurposing Bay. No, I'll make a copy of this Amplifier. 2 mana. Activate Repurposing Bay, and I will sack this to go get a 4-drop. I will put an Aetherflux Marvel. Either works. Wow. Either works Marvel in the play. Whenever a permanent you control is put into a graveyard, get an energy. Whee! Tap it. Pay 6 energy, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost. Yeah, I'll pass.
End of Corbin's turn, I'm going to pay 3 to Flare of Malice. Each opponent sacrifices the creature with highest mana value that they control.
Okay.
Yep. Replacement effect. This will get shuffled in instead of going to my graveyard.
I have 3 3-drops, but I'm going to choose my commander because I can just cast it again, hopefully.
Trigger, Aetherflux Marvel. Get energy. Wee.
All right. Untap and draw combat. 5 at Invasion of Ikoria. I'm going to
yes.
pass.
End of your turn, I'm going to Vampiric Tutor. I'll lose 2, I'll put a card on top of my library.
Sure.
This card will go on top. Also, in Matt's turn, I'm going to exile.
You mean graveyard?
Yeah, I'm going to Graveyard Snuff Out to make a 2/2 rogue. All right, untapping, not drawing. Beginning of my turn, I will make a fairy and lose a life.
I'll gain a life.
Oh, did you gain one for the rogue?
No.
Oh, yeah, go for it. I'm going to pass turn.
End of your turn. Heliod's Intervention,
Sure.
X equaling 7.
You got it.
Target Necropotence, Bitter Blossom, and Jet Medallion. I will untap and draw. I will cast Diabolic Intent, sacrificing Soul Warden, 3, 4, and the floating to cast Bone Miser.
Goes.
Whenever I discard a creature card, I can make a 2/2 zombie. Whenever I discard a land card, add 2 black mana. Whenever I discard a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. 1, and cast a Children of Corliss. I can sacrifice it, and I can gain life equal to the life I've lost this turn. So I'll just pass turn then.
I will play this commercial district. I will surveil 1. Sure, that's fine. 6 mana, Aetherflux Conduit. Whenever you cast a spell, you get an amount of energy equal to that spell's mana value. Tap it, pay 50 energy. Draw 7 cards. You may cast any number of spells from your hand without paying their mana cost. I will pass the turn.
End step. I'm going to activate my commander.
Neat. What are you putting into play?
Soul of the Harvest. It is a 6/6 trample, and whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under my control, I can draw a card. Untap and draw. That sure is a land. Let's get this Vigor down. I'm going to cast Vigor.
I'm going to pay 2. Consuming Corruption, Soul of the Harvest.
Okay, I will attack the invasion.
Okay.
I will cast the backside. This is Alortha, Apex of Ikoria. It is an 8/8 reach. For each non-human creature I control, I may have that creature assign damage as though it weren't blocked. Pass.
End of your turn, I'm going to unexile a swamp to make a treasure. And I'll go to my turn. Beginning of my turn, I will make another fairy. 1 black to defile your miser. -6/-6 until end of turn.
I'm going to cast Flare of Fortitude by sacking Children of Corliss to give my creatures indestructible and hexproof.
I'm going to pay 3 to Withering Torment, destroying Bone Miser with that on the stack.
Yep.
In note of your sacrifice, I will not kill you on my turn.
Thank you.
this time.
I'm going to pay 1 to cast David's card from exile. This is a Phyrexian Furnace. I can tap it to remove the bottom card of target player's graveyard from the game. I can pay 1, sack it, remove target card in graveyard from the game, and draw a card. Okay, I'm all done.
5 mana for my commander. Go to combat. Both Patchwork Gnomes, which is 2, and Ranger Captain is going at Corbin.
Okay.
White, and 1 split up to destroy all untapped creatures.
I will respond by tapping my commander, and I will choose not to put anything in. Trigger Vigor. When it enters the graveyard, I will shuffle it into my library.
I will pass turn after that.
All right, draw. Cast Primal Players. When it enters the battlefield, I will get 2 energy. I had 1 from the Aetherflux.
You get 4 from that.
And then I get 4 from this. You may cast creature spells with mana value 3 or less by paying 1 energy rather than paying their mana cost. If you cast a spell this way, you may cast it as though it had flash. I'll pass.
I'm going to tap my commander. I'm going to put in Strong Brutus Thespian. It is a 7/7 ward 2 with Enrage. Whenever it's dealt damage, I get 3 rad counters, and I put 3 1/1 counters on Strong, and I gain life rather than lose life from radiation. And then I'm going to pay 6 for Rishkar's Expertise. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures I control, and then I can cast a spell with mana value 5 or less from my hand without paying its mana cost. I will draw 7. I'm going to cast Seaborn Muse for 0. Land for turn is Forest. I'm going to go to combat. I'm going to send 5 at Jason. Pass turn.
End of your turn, I'm going to pay 1, sack this, exile.
Bone Miser.
Bone Miser, sure. And I will draw a card. I'm also going to put a swamp into my graveyard from here to make a treasure. And it will go to my turn.
I will also untap.
I will play a swamp for turn. You're very scary right now, Matt.
Yep.
We'll go ahead and attempt to Deadly Relic your commander.
I will defend the Rider. Target permanent I control gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn.
Okay. Going to pay 2 to Demonic Tutor. I'm going to put a card in my hand. I'll be done after that.
End step. I'm going to activate my commander. I'm going to put Teamer Sabretooth into play.
Untap, upkeep, draw. I'm going to play a Bloodstained Mire. We're going to tap for 3, play a Phyrexian Unlife. I don't lose a game for having 0 or less life, and as long as I have 0 or less life, all damage dealt to me is dealt as though it had Infect. Pass turn after that.
End step. I will activate my commander.
I have a response.
Sure.
5. Guess I'm fetching for the 6th. Fetch Shock, a Godless Shrine. Tap that for the 6th mana. Cast Final Showdown to destroy all creatures.
I will respond. I'm going to pay 2 mana to bounce my commander. I'm going to pay 2 mana to bounce Seaborn Muse. I'm going to pay 2 mana to bounce Strong. And this can die. Can I resolve my commander's ability?
Yeah.
I'll put my commander into play.
I will pass turn.
6 mana. I'm going to cast Rutaclad. Trigger. Get 6 energy. Creature tokens I control at haste. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, create a 2/1 blue Phyrexian Mirror artifact creature token. Then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. Go to combat. Make a token. I'm going to attack Jason for 2.
Yeah, I'll take 2.
I'm done.
1, 2, 3. I will play 1000 Year Elixir. I may activate abilities of creatures I control as though those creatures had haste. I can pay 1 and tap it to untap target creature. I'm going to pay 2 mana for a Fanatic of Ronus. It taps for a green, or it taps for 4 green. Activate only if I have creatures with power 4 or greater, and I can pay 4 if it's in my graveyard to eternalize it. I'm going to tap this for 4, and I'm going to activate my commander for 1. I'm going to put Seaborn back into play. I'm going to use one of the floating to untap my commander. I'm going to tap it again. I'm going to put Strong back into play. Combat. 4 at Jason.
I'm going to pay 3 to Force of Despair. All creatures that enter the battlefield this turn die.
I'm going to pick up Seaborn Muse. And then these 2 will die.
I will then put Dark Ritual into my graveyard to make a 2/2 rogue, and I will block the Sabretooth. I'll take 2.
Go ahead.
Untap and draw. Play Swamp. Meathook Massacre number 2 for 2.
Yep.
By 2, I mean X equals 2.
Yeah.
Sack 2 creatures. For each one sacked, you have to pay 3 life. If you don't, I get them with a finality counter.
I will pay 3 life for this one. This one is going to be command zoned, so you don't get it.
I'm going to pay 1 energy, and I'm going to flash in Whirler Virtuoso. When it enters the battlefield, you get 3 energy. Pay 3 energy, create a Thopter. I'll pay 3 energy. I'll make 1 Thopter, and I'll sack the Thopter and this thing.
Okay.
Neat.
I'll pass turn.
Tap 7 and play my commander again. 1 for a Bag of Holding. Whenever I discard a card, exile it from my graveyard. Pay 2, draw a card, discard a card. Pay 4, sacrifice it, return all cards exiled with Bag of Holding to their owner's hand. I will pass.
I'll play land. I will play my commander. I get exactly 4 energy. I will go to combat. Trigger on the stack first, trigger on the stack second. This will resolve first. Pay 3 energy to make token copy of Whirler Virtuoso, which will then
Give you 3 energy.
give me 3 energy. Brutaclad will make a token, and then all my tokens will become Whirler Virtuosos, but one of them will get sacked at the end of turn. Jason, take 8. Matt, take 2.
Sure.
All right.
I will go to my end step. This gets sacked.
I'll go to my turn. We did it. It's forest number 8. I'm going to pay 4 mana and eternalize my Fanatic of Ronus. It's a 4/4 Zombo dude. I'm going to tap it for 4 and then play my commander. I'm going to tap my commander and put Seaborn Muse into play. Pass the turn.
End of your turn, I will put Dothie Voidwalker into my graveyard to make a rogue. I'm tapping and drawing. I'll pay 8 mana for my commander. I will play a swamp. I will pass turn.
Untap, upkeep, draw. I'm gonna pay 2 and tap Bag of Holding to draw a card, then discard a card. I will discard Shadowy Backstreet, which will trigger Bag of Holding. I will exile it under Bag of Holding, trigger my commander to lose 1 and draw 1. Land for turn will be Urza's Saga. I'm just going to pass turn.
End step. I will activate my commander.
Oh, we still got more.
That's it. No, I'm going to eat this food.
Draw.
You get cards for beating on other people now. I'm here to help.
Gonna make 5 Thopters.
I will make 5 monsters.
Do they all have haste?
Yep.
We'll cast this diversion unit. Trigger, actually. I will get the energy. Go to combat. Trigger Brutaclad. Trigger Saheeli. I'll make a copy of the diversion unit. Brutaclad triggers. So I have a diversion unit that is a 5/5. Brutaclad triggered to make another mirror, but then I chose the 5/5 unit, and all my tokens became 5/5 flying diversion unit. 3 5/5s at Matt, and 5 5/5s at David.
I have no blocks.
Same.
You get the top 5 cards in my library.
And play this land. I'm gonna cast Shared Summons to search my library for 2 creature cards, and I will make a treasure token.
That would have been a good one to draw. Oh well.
I will get an Eternal Witness and put that into my hand, and I will get a Volatile Storm Drake and put that into my hand. I'll use one of the energy counters to flash in a Volatile Storm Drake, and I'll target Seaborn Muse.
I'm going to cast Legolas's Quick Reflexes on my Seaborn Muse. It has split second, untap target creature until end of turn. It gains hexproof reach, and whenever this creature becomes tapped, deals damage equal to its powered up to 1 target creature.
No switch happens. Go to the end of turn. Sack this.
I'll activate my commander. I'm going to put Vigor into play as my last card. He's back. Drew him again. I will go to combat though. I'm going to send the 6/6 at David. Trample. I guess I'll send the 2/4 and the 1/2 at him as well to try to get cards, and then I'll send this 4/4 at Corbin.
I'll block Vigor.
Okay.
Pay an energy. Flash in a Skyclave Apparition, and I'll target your Fanatic of Ronus.
It's non-token.
Oh, cool. I'll just target your commander then.
Sure.
Block with the Skyclave Apparition.
I'll trample for 2. Oh, I don't trample
Yeah, you
anymore.
don't trample anymore.
Skyclave does trigger Meathook Massacre though.
I'll pay 3.
Span 3 so I don't get the apparition.
So I block Vigor. It no longer has trample.
That one always has trample.
So I take 2, but the commander's gone, so I just take 4.
Yeah, I get to take 2 cards from the top of your deck. Oh, it would be really cool if these were better. Second main, I'm going to untap my Fanatic of Ronus, and then I'm going to tap it for 4. I'm going to cast Mind Stone for 2 of it, sack it for 1. I get a treasure, and I will try to draw a more different card. Here's a Swamp. Here's a Delighted Halfling. I'm going to play my commander uncounterably. Go ahead.
In your turn, I'm going to sack Scribbling Claws. Exile target card from a graveyard. Lotus Petal. I'm going to draw a card. Bontu's Monument will go to my graveyard. I will make another rogue, and it'll go to my turn. Play a Swamp. 4 for a Cryptghast. My Swamp's tap for 2 swamps. I'll go ahead and pass.
Untap and draw Agatha's Soul Cauldron. I would like to activate Agatha's Soul Cauldron, targeting my Patchwork Gnomes. Put a counter on my commander to give it...
Respawn.
Okay.
I'm gonna pass your commander.
I will tap 2 and activate Bag of Holding to draw a card and discard a card. discarding a planes under bag of holding, triggering my commander to lose 1 and draw 1. That is good. I gain 4.
Now you get a.
Basic land tapped under your control.
I also draw because it's exiled under my control. I'll get a tapped planes, and then I will lose 1 and draw 1 for my commander exiling under my control during my turn. Tap for 3 and play a Recruiter of the Guard. We are going to get ourselves a Scourge Familiar. Play a Planar Void. Whenever a card is put into a graveyard, remove that card from the game.
I'll respond. I'm going to cast Veil of Summer. I'll draw a card.
Pass turn.
Land for turn is going to be this Windswept Heath, and I will activate it. I will get a basic forest. I'll cast Blightsteel Colossus. Trigger, get a treasure.
Okay, that probably kills us.
Trigger, get 12 energy. I'm going to use the 12 energy to make some more Thopters. So I'll get 4 more Thopters. I will go to combat. Trigger. Make a Blightsteel Colossus that is a 5/5. Technor triggers, resolves. I get another mirror, and now everything is a Blightsteel Colossus. 5/5 Trample Infect. Volatile Storm Drake is going in the air at Jason.
Yeah.
50 infect.
At me.
And that.
I will block 18 of it.
Even if I block, they have trample, so I get 14.
Yep.
I'll take 3 regular damage in there. And with a little help from Gonti, Corbin is able to assemble an army of Blightsteel Colossi and poison everyone to death. Except for me. He just killed me normally. I thought that was a pretty cool win. I hoped you did too. See y'all next time. Thank you, patrons, especially Jacob M., Paul K., Jared R., KGCB, Mad Hatter Mage CJ, and Jared N. And thank you to the rest of our patrons as well.